we're going to start doing our post-spring breakdown. We did it before the spring where we graded the positions, graded the players there, talked about the roster. But now spring is over. Some new additions. We saw some players kind of break out maybe in the spring game. We're going to do it week by week, position by position. We're going to start off with the QB. I mean, this is the most finite spot on the roster. Everyone knows who's starting there. I mean, it's DJ Lagway. He's already throwing. The videos of him throwing have been released. It's not a question of when he's going to be healthy. I mean, we know he's going to be healthy. I mean, looking at the starting job, there's not much to talk about. I mean, Lagway probably as good as it gets in returning QBs this year. I mean, Nussmeier, he had some flaws last year. Drew Aller couldn't really do it well in big games. You have guys like Lenore Sellers and Arch Manning coming in. Cade Klubnik. Yeah.
Klubnik's maybe my Heisman favorite right now, if I'm being honest. If I had to pick a preseason Heisman favorite, I might be on team Cade Klubnik. Which is crazy because I'd given up on him.
Sorry, going into last year. Yeah, me too. I mean, even after the Georgia game week 1.
Oh, no, I was like, this guy's not the answer after that Georgia game, but I think he's the answer.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have really changed their minds like that over the 2024 season. But if you're looking at starting QB grades, it's an A+ or an A, depending on how you want to view it. I mean, if you want to be some knocks, it's okay, his injury concerns and maybe some accuracy issues, so you'll only give him an A. But if you want to look at, he was only a freshman and he was doing a lot of this while injured, then you probably give him an A+.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so what do you say, A or A+ for a starter QB?
I say A. I think that's the most fair because, again, I'm really high on DJ Lagway. I think he's going to have a good season. I think there were still things that he pretty clearly needed to work on last year. There were a lot of freshman moments. I mean, I think he improved every week, in the ways you like to see. Obviously, he railed by that injury a little bit. I mean, I think it's an A because, there's not really. I mean, there's a very, very short list of guys I might rather have start a game for me on a Saturday than DJ Lagway this year in college football. But I think that A+ just seems a little premature for what we've seen him do, considering it's not like he came. I mean, if he came out and we won those LSU and Ole Miss games with him throwing for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, yeah, okay. I mean, it'd be pretty hard to argue he's not already sitting at A+ level. But I think he pretty clearly has some things that he needs to take a step forward in this season if he's going to be that A+, Heisman contender level quarterback that we think he can be.
Yeah, I think a lot of things when you're looking at Lagway's grade is the fact that his potential. I mean, of all the QBs in college football, he's probably top 2, top 3 in potential. I mean, who are the other guys that are looking at as maybe top 5 picks or the number 1 overall pick? I mean, Arch Manning, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know if Nussmeier has high potential as Lagway does. I mean, Lenore Sellers, maybe. But who else?
I mean, Sellers is just so raw. So, maybe Sellers, just because if he gets more refined, that could be a really, really good player. But yeah, I mean, who are the other? I mean, you're looking at guys that are comparable. You're looking at Dante Moore, and we just don't know. We genuinely don't. Julian saying, we just genuinely don't know how good those guys are because they haven't. I mean, Dante Moore started a couple games as a true freshman. Julian saying we've seen take pretty much no meaningful snaps at all.
No.
I mean, then obviously guys like Keelan Russell. We'll see if he wins that job as a true freshman. But yeah, I mean
he's not. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Ty Simpson.
Probably. I mean, that's what it seems like. I guess the point I'm just trying to make is that a lot of the recent elite recruits are either unproven or not even set to start this year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the potential and the fact that Lagway's a winner. You look at the games he started and finished. Florida has won those games. I mean, it's mentioned in the article on the voiceofcollegefootball.com. Every game Lagway has started and finished, Florida has won. He's 6-0 in those games. So you have the fact that he has the highest potential of maybe anybody in college football with the fact that he's winning games. I mean, that sky's the limit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's no reason to me. I think the limiting factor is coaching, to be honest with you, barring injury. I think the limiting factor for Florida's offense and DJ Lagway's success is coaching.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at the rest of this position. Obviously, the big news in the transfer portal, or some of the big news was who's going to be our backup. And you know what? I just completely forgot. Who was the QB that flipped from that decommitted from Florida and went to Wake Forest? I completely forgot about this situation until just now.
Deshaun Purdy, is that
That's
his name?
right. That's right. Yeah. So you look at the QB, the backup room. A lot of talk in the transfer portal was about Florida's backup QB. We went and got Deshaun Purdy, who North Carolina, Georgia, all of the a lot of big time programs were looking at Deshaun Purdy, but he kind of just commits to Florida out of the blue, something that I didn't expect, especially with like North Carolina in the mix, somewhere he could have started at. But he commits to Florida, and then a couple weeks later, a report comes out that he thought he was to compete for the starting job. I mean, we talked about it back then, how ridiculous that was, but ends up entering back into the transfer portal, or stayed in the transfer portal. He's just committed, I think. And then goes to Wake Forest, where I assume he's going to start. But then we had to go back in, look for a new QB. We get Harrison Bailey, a name we're familiar here with the UF. Played for Tennessee, went to UNLV and then to Louisville, if I'm not mistaken. Someone you're looking at as a backup QB is kind of a stereotypical NFL backup. Someone that you're hoping doesn't have to come in, but if he does, you're hoping he doesn't lose you the game, but he's not going to win the game. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is as good a transfer backup as you were going to get with Lagway already entrenched here as the starter. I mean, the Purdy thing was crazy. I mean, honestly, like, it was like, this doesn't even make sense. It felt too good to be true, because it's like, this is a guy who legitimately played well as a true freshman last year. Like, why is he going somewhere where he's not even going to start for 3 years? I mean, he's the same class as Lagway. So, I think, right?
That sounds right.
Yeah,
that is right. Yeah.
If anything, he's older. If anything, he's at least he might be a redshirt freshman, or might have been a redshirt freshman. So, I mean, that was weird. So the point I'm trying to make is, you were never going to get like a guy who would intrigue you as a starter to come be Lagway's backup. But I think the journeyman makes a lot of sense. A guy who's started a few games, played against power conference competition. That's the guy you want, because I think, say what you will about Aiden Warner, and, I don't think either of us really want to see a situation where Aiden Warner has to play meaningful snaps for the Gators again this year.
No.
But I mean, he did the best he could, I think. I don't think he was like horrifically bad, but I think it was pretty clear Florida needed to find someone a little bit more talented, a little bit more experienced to occupy that role this year. And I don't really, I mean, you could say a little bit better than me in terms of how he looked in the spring game, because I wasn't there, but it seems like Harrison Bailey is at the very least capable of running this offense at like a replacement level.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I'd like to point out, Texas, they just got today backup QB to commit to them, Matthew Caldwell. They only had 3 QBs on their roster, including 4 QBs, including Arch, a freshman, and 2 walk-ons. The freshman was a mid 155th in the composite. So someone that you're not going to expect to be ready day one, I would assume. Mm-hmm. And they just went and got Matthew Caldwell from Troy, a guy who last year had 1,608 yards, 13 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and before that never had over 1,000 yards. So they just got him to be their backup. At least with Harrison Bailey, you're looking at someone who has SEC experience, ACC experience. I mean, a ton of experience, was a highly rated recruit, played pretty well in their bowl game against Washington. Washington, I think it was.
Yeah,
right?
I think you're right. That sounds right. I think you're right.
So, yeah, I mean, someone that has experience, and looking at getting backup QBs, the only guy that I can look at in the portal and be like, okay, he would have been a better true backup that went to a place where it's a backup, is Jacob Zena, who went to Texas A&M to back up Marcel Reed. But then again, you're not going to try to pay that much, because he's going to make a good nickel off of Texas A&M as a backup QB there. And we aren't going to pay a backup that much. So I think for the situation we were in with how some of our QB recruiting has gone, and with what happened with Deshaun Purdy, I think you can look at Harrison Bailey and be like, okay, this was probably the best case scenario with how everything's happened.
Yeah. I mean, and you still have the guy in there, and Tramel Jones, that you're developing for the
Yep.
future, but doesn't need to be an emergency quarterback or something this year. I mean, obviously, like, the strength of this room is just entirely hinging on DJ Lagway. Like, in spite of everything we just said about Harrison Bailey, if God forbid something were to happen to DJ week 1, I don't think either of us has particularly high expectations for how 12 games of Harrison Bailey would go. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I think most of our expectations for the team would be out the window if something like that were to happen.
I
So
would just put it. I have this as a playoff team right now. If Harrison Bailey's a QB, I'm not even thinking about playoffs. I'm hoping for bowl game.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the whole strength of the room hinges on Lagway not having another injury-plagued season, and hopefully that's not the case. But I mean, if it's, Harrison Bailey has to play a half or even start a game against an SEC team, I think you feel a lot better about that situation than the one last year. Also, is Clay Millen still here?
I was gonna bring up the rest of the QB room after you finished your.
Okay, sorry. You can go into what you
So,
were gonna do. What you were gonna say?
I mean, look at the rest of the QB room. Tramel Jones, freshman, ranked in the 200s. Someone that he could be a good QB. I mean, you see players in this ranking end up being solid SEC or solid QBs to go to the NFL, but it's too early to say with him. And then the big question: Clay Millen's still on the roster. I mean, he's still here, but like, what does that really mean? I don't know. I assume you don't. So, I mean, would you rather see
no insight there?
Harrison Bailey or Aiden Warner or Tramel Jones? I don't know.
Would I rather? I would maybe I mean, again, I'm not trying to like pile on Aiden Warner. I would maybe rather see Clay Millen than Aiden Warner, just because we got to see one last year and we didn't get to see the other. But I think I would certainly rather see Harrison Bailey. And I mean, honestly, like, if it were a situation like that where it's just a lost season, I wouldn't even hate throwing Tramel Jones in there. Just let him get the experience and roll with the punches and see what you got. If it really came down to like, you're not going to have Lagway for a significant amount of time. Not if it's 1 week against Ole Miss or whatever. Like, not if it's that situation. But
yeah, I've had the same thought process. Like, if Lagway gets hurt in like the first couple weeks, and it's like Bailey isn't going to have any chance at winning these games against Texas, A&M, Georgia, then maybe you try rolling out the freshman there and see what he can give you. But I mean, looking at the rest of the QB room, I think I skipped over Aiden Warner completely, but like with Mel and Millen, that's not even me dissing him. I just skipped his name on the list here. I think Warner, you look at the fact that it was his first FBS experience and he was thrown into Georgia and Texas. Like, I don't know if Warner really is as bad as we've seen him play. Because, again, 2 playoff teams, a team that made the semifinals, and he played a little bit against Stanford, but maybe I wouldn't be totally shocked if Warner was the backup. I expect Bailey to be the backup, but I think Warner is a little bit overhated compared to, what we talked about him and what everyone else really talks about him as.
Well, and it kind of sounded like to me for a lot of spring practice that he was looked like he was winning the backup job at one point. Doesn't really, based on spring game reps, that doesn't really seem to be the case to me, that he won that backup, at least is currently in position to win the backup job after spring. I mean, look, I think the most earnestly complimentary thing I can say about Aiden Warner is I think it's pretty clear that he is a better quarterback than his pedigree would have you believe.
I think
a walk-on transfer from Yale who couldn't play at Yale. He clearly, I mean, he led a couple scoring drives in an SEC game against playoff teams. Like, come on, like I'm not trying to be unfair here. No. But he's still a walk-on transfer from Yale. So that's just it kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's just hope Lagway doesn't get hurt. The backup QB room, I mean, for what it was or what it could be, I think they did the best they could. But overall, I mean, if other teams like Ohio State has 5-star QBs as backups, I mean, or Nolan transfer, but Luke Keinholz or whoever their backup is going to be a highly rated prospect. Georgia, Who is Georgia's backup? I actually just didn't. I just thought about that. Ryan Puglisi. That's probably it.
They got a transfer, didn't they? Or have they just been in the mix for a bunch of them?
Because I know they've been in the mix for Purdy and Jacob Zeno.
They were in the mix for Fernando Mendoza.
That's yeah, but he would have been a starter. Yeah, it's just Puglisi, and they have a freshman. Hezekiah Millender? Who is that? Let's see.
Speaking of
didn't he flip from Boise State?
Maybe.
Yeah, he's in the 700s, like 760. He flipped from Boise State on.
Speaking of Georgia quarterbacks,
November.
Have we mentioned Jaden Rashada's most recent commitment to Sacramento State FCS?
Let's finish this up real quick.
Sorry, no, I wasn't trying to start a discussion. I was just throwing that out there.
But given the backup room, what would you give us rating? Yeah.
Like, I'm right on the cusp between C+, B-. I'd probably go like C+. I'd probably go C+ on the backups.
Yeah, I'm the optimistic one here, so I'll go B-.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of people think that if Lagway gets hurt, the season's like completely over. I do think with the offensive line, the running room, we have talent at receivers that could carry a QB to being statistically decent. So I don't think the season will be completely over. So I'll go B-.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I think the reason I was like considering B- is because I think you have to factor in Tramel Jones being in there too. But I guess I just think none of those three I would be particularly confident in having to start multiple games. So I feel like it's kind of hard for me to go higher than C+ there.